Hello, my name is Mark Dinasa, and today my topic that I picked out for my history class is Hamilton, the classes that shaped the nation. So to begin, I just wanted to say that I have always loved the history of Hamilton, and I always wanted to know about him so much more than now. And so that's why I decided to pick him to do my topic. So here we go. So what I learned from looking for this free trip online free trip was the history of this tour's location. It was really good that I got to know what they provided, and what they provided was great new information that I didn't know before, which was really important by the way that they emphasize on the real life impacts from the Constitution rights that truly brought the abstract principles to life. And Hamilton faced some problems throughout his life that had debates, and he had conflict with figures like Thomas Jefferson and John Adams and Burr. In this research, I have found detailed background information and the highlights of the importance of understanding the legal and the civil principles of the Constitution that connected with history, with its foundational values, and these classes centered on creating a really strong federal government that was established as a national bank. It determined the scope of the personal power, defining America's political and constitution. I found out in my research that Hamilton believed in having a central government, and he had ideas that laid the foundation for so many people and still underpin the U.S. today. And his classes and his ideas that he had symbolized as a big theme of liberty and honor and power that deeply influenced the nation. With him doing that, it caused him to have conflict with other leaders like Thomas Jefferson and Madison, and they usually disagreed with states' rights and federal authority and policy and the future directions of the young nation at that time. I found it really interesting that the tour how it really told the real life impacts from the Constitution rights in making the principles relatable and attainable. And I also found it really fascinating to know how he had his own vision in his head and how he wanted to have a strong central government and how he wanted to have it done and have it done the right way, because it's important to have a government. And even though he had a lot of the intense opposition, that was the likely for the American Catholic system. what was so surprising to me was his pursuit of a prime minister role was, even though for a massive standing army and the intense, often petty personal rivalry that Hamilton had with John Adams. I didn't know about all these rivalries that he had. I thought the tour was really good. I liked the tour. I love history. And I love the history of Hamilton, and I found out more about him more than I did before, and I understand him now more than I did before. And it combined with the interactive in displays with the artifacts that offered a engaging way to understand the constitutional history. And that's the end of my presentation, and I hope you enjoyed them. Bye-bye.